Hello, Rambler fans, and welcome to another edition of the Superintendent Corner, starring Scott Akom. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. So the weather report looks like this weekend we might get rid of all the snow that we currently have. But boy, has it been an interesting winter because it really hasn't been a lot of snow days, but we've had weather days. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because when I took my first superintendent's role, I never realized how stressful calling snow days would be, and it's very stressful. So McBain, we've had 13 days. We had a day for volleyball where we went down to quarterfinals where we had to, didn't think we'd make attendance at the school to count it as a day, but then also to celebrate the girls. But then also we had the 2 power days right before winter break, Christmas break. And then we've had 10 other weather days where we've closed because of road conditions or visibility or other reasons. So we've had 13 snow days so far. The state gives you 6. You have to apply for a waiver for 3 additional days, which we will be applying for. And then I do believe that there's a new legislation where we can count professional development time as a day of instruction. So I believe that we can, the February day that we had, I believe that we are able to count that, and we'll only need to make up 3 days currently. But that's still a lot of days, but we can plan on making up a few days unless something happens in legislation that forgives additional days.
So how do we decide what's a snow day? You just kind of wake up and say, I don't want to go into work today, let's take the day off. I mean, what's the process of how you decide on snow days?
Yeah, well, interestingly, I still come into work on snow days.
Okay, so
and a lot of staff do. A lot of staff do once the road conditions get better. Scott Dunham and I start talking in the mornings when we think that there's a potential that the road conditions aren't great. Sometimes those phone conversations start at 4 a.m., 4:30. And we start talking about those as he's out driving the roads. We also talk to the other area transportation directors and superintendents to kind of see what their districts are thinking and to see how their roads are, since our district butts up at Lake City and Marion and Pine River, and if their conditions are worse, that area of our district might be just as bad. So we kind of collaborate together that way. And we know that the decision is always made on the side of safety, and we want our kids to be safe and parents to be safe driving kids in. So it's quite a process.
Wow, that's fascinating to know. Sometimes we thought the weathermen had just at 9:10 called and told us when we were going to have school closed. But
yeah,
and you have to collaborate with the other schools because there's no way you can drive all the roads in our own school district in a reasonable amount of time.
Correct. And also, with our cell phones and updated in technology, rather than when we were in school, we didn't have that. We have to consider also, we feel confident we get the kids to school safely in the morning. But if this freezing rain comes in at 10, 11 o'clock, like they're saying is going to come in, are we going to be able to get them home safely? So we also have to consider that too.
Well, the last freezing rain, President's Day, we were playing pickleball, and a bunch of teachers are coming in and they're seeing us and said, "You guys think we're going to have school tomorrow?" And we were like, "Not only are you going to have school tomorrow, but you better plan extra because they're probably going to stay through dinner. They're going to be here at about 8 o'clock at night, and you're going to have to entertain them the whole time."
Yeah.
So be ready, just because they can't make it home, but they can make it here. But I guess you take that into consideration.
You do. And you don't mess with ice.
No, you don't. That's
bad.
All right, so we've done 13 days off. Why don't we just wait a couple hours to do a delay and just see how the weather clears up, especially if it's fog or if the temperatures turn quickly?
Yeah. So, interesting point. I sent a survey out to parents last week to see if they would be interested in delays. A lot of times it can cause hardships for families if there's a delay. If you leave your child at home thinking the bus is going to pick them up at 9, then all of a sudden we close school for the rest of the day. In the past, a lot of districts have gone away from delays because of that reason. And my understanding is that they did a survey a few years ago and had different results than we got this year. But this year we had over 460 people complete the survey, students, staff, parents, and community members. And about 76% of those parents, or those that took the survey, we're in favor of 2-hour delays. Decreased a little with 3-hour delays. It was down to about 66% with 3-hour delays. 3-hour delays are tough because food service, can cause a hardship with them. And so we have kids eating before 11 o'clock sometimes. So we will look at using 2-hour delays going forward if we are confident that conditions will clear up.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we're confident that conditions will clear up and we'll be able to go, because it does cause hardships for families when we have to close.
Now that makes perfect sense there. So, I don't know if people realize, but one of the main problems that's plaguing schools right now is vaping.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to catch because it's just mist of water in the air and it quickly dissipate. And I said that word wrong, but we'll move on. And
I knew what you meant.
And it's almost impossible to catch unless you just happen to see it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do about that?
Yeah, it definitely is a pandemic across the United States, vaping in middle schools and high schools. We are recently, over the last snow days, have installed several vape detectors and have put them in common place where people vape are bathrooms. They're private and they can go into a stall and vape. And so we have installed vape detectors in bathrooms and some other areas in our district to try to crack down on that, because vaping is very harmful to your lungs and to your cardiovascular system, and can be addicting. So we're concerned about our students' safety for that, and as a school, we're just trying to help our community curb this pandemic. Encourage parents to talk to their kids about vaping and the harmful effects it could have, but also kind of go through their things and look through their things and see what they have, because it is everywhere, not in McBain, everywhere in America.
Yes, it is. Wow. So being proactive with the vaping at this point and seeing if we can help people stay healthier and live longer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a weird word on our master board here, millage? What are you talking about there?
Yeah, it's not a weird word. It's just a word that people don't always want to hear.
No, they don't want to hear that.
So in August, the board will be voting in March to approve ballot language of, this is our 18 mil non-homestead operational millage. So this is a millage that came about early 90s. This is renewed regularly. This came about with Proposal A, where businesses, second homes, vacation properties, different things like that are taxed on this 18 mil non-homestead operational millage. Your homes are not taxed on that if that's your homestead. That does not pertain to you. McBain has been renewing this millage every 2 years for the last few years. They've gone to the polls every 2 years. And this millage is important because it gives us the money to operate as a school system. If this millage does not pass, the state does not give us our per pupil foundation, our full allowance. I want to say this generates about $1.5 million for McBain schools annually.
Okay.
That we use for operations. And this, like I said, this is something that we have to have pass. All school districts in Michigan have it in order to receive our full funding from the state. This will be on the ballot in August. It'll be a 4-year renewal. As I said earlier, they've been renewing it every 2 years, but we're kind of looking at, we don't need to go to the polls every 2 years. We can extend this out. You can actually extend it out for 20 years. 20-year renewal,
really?
Yeah. But that gives some sticker shock to some people. So we're going for 4 years on non-homestead properties.
So, to dumb it down so even I can understand
Mm-hmm.
it, if this millage does not pass, not only do we lose the 1.5 mil that it generates for operating our school, but we also lose funding from the state to operate schools, so it's almost like a double whammy for not passing.
It would be the same funding.
Okay.
That 1.5 mil. It's the same funding. The state would deduct that money from our per pupil allowance.
Okay. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have some interesting things going on. This Friday there's a foundation lunch for all the seniors. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but they come in and they're going to be talking to the kids about scholarships. And if I remember correctly, I was talking to Donna Shepherds, and they said they have quite a bit of money in the coffer they want to give away to seniors. How do they get this money? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so the McBain Foundation, this is a very unique organization. You don't see school systems have these foundations like this, and this is a group of McBain alumni that have come together and generate thousands of dollars for our seniors, for scholarships, for colleges, and anything post-secondary. If I'm going to a trade school, I can apply for the scholarship money. If I'm going for certain certifications, I can get the scholarship money. If I'm going to a 2-year or 4-year institution, I can apply for the scholarship money. It's tens of thousands of dollars that they give out every year, and they generate some of these funds through their auction. And their auction is scheduled for Saturday, April 16th at 6 o'clock here at the school, and we hope to see a lot of people there. There's a lot of great items up for bid, up for sale, and it's going to help with the foundation and a great cause for our students.
So that's the Saturday before Easter.
It is, yeah.
All right, so that's a good way to remember that. Between Good Friday and Easter Sunday, you have an auction there where you'll be able to come in. Is there going to be food served? Is this just going to be a time of fellowship as well as?
I believe at one time there was food served, but I don't think they had the auction the last 2 years
Because of
COVID. So I'm not certain on all the logistics of it, but I want everyone to make sure they put it on their calendar that April 16th at 6 o'clock will be the foundation auction.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic time. So you guys want to make sure you come out and join us for the foundation auction. That will be on the Saturday before Easter, otherwise known as April 16th, 6 p.m. Things are starting to get a little bit busy because we have a spring break even coming up soon. So
We do.
When's that again?
That is the last week of March.
All right, so we have a spring break coming up. We have SAT testing, which is going to be a major deal, but we'll probably touch on that a little bit more in the next month's edition of the Superintendent's Corner. Senior trips on the horizon.
Yeah.
And then
it's exciting we're able to bring a lot of these stuff back for our kids.
Yes.
I've noticed a big difference in their attitudes, with being able to have assemblies and field trips, and it's just really refreshing to see.
Yes, I agree with that. And I don't know if you knew this, but on the senior trip, a lot of mask mandates are expiring throughout there, and the vaccination mandates are expiring. So
Good.
The kids are going back to the previous level of 2 years ago. So they're excited about this trip. So
it's helping.
All right. Anything you want to add for the good of the cause?
And not right now.
All right. Gary Vanna,
Scott Akom.
feel the wheel. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Great job. Sorry about the mics.
Oh, you're good. Good question.